Hey guys, it's Shane here for theguitarmentor.com. Now, one of the questions I get asked most often is, as a beginner guitarist, what kind of guitar do I need to start on? Now, probably a better question would be, what kind of music do I gravitate to? What kind of music do I love? Why? Well, the thing is, the music that you love is the kind of music that you're going to want to play. If you started off on, say, an acoustic guitar, but you love Guns N' Roses, say, for instance, there's a couple of tracks that you could play on acoustic that might sound similar to it, but overall you're going to want to sound like Slash or play a Les Paul or get that heavy sound. You're not going to get it with the acoustic. So, and on the other hand, if you wanted to play some country music, or you wanted to, play some folk music or even classical, well, a Les Paul's not going to cut it. You'll need to grab an acoustic guitar. It's kind of plain and simple that way. There is no rule book that says you must start on an acoustic guitar first. There are some benefits, and we'll go through those benefits. But there's a bit of a misconception that you need to start on an acoustic first and then go to an electric guitar. Never did that, and to be honest with you, I don't think that's the right way to go anyway, even if someone tells you otherwise. The thing is, what you want to do is try and buy the guitar that most suits the style of music you want to play. That's going to keep you interested, that's going to keep things moving. You're going to hear things when you play that are similar to your idols, and if that propels you to keep playing, that's what you need to do. If you're playing an acoustic and you need to sound heavy, it's not going to happen. You're just going to lose traction and lose interest. And as a beginner guitarist, you need to have the most inspiration that you can to keep going. So that would be my advice for picking the type of guitar that you want. Now we're going to have a look at each guitar, broken down, what the pros and cons of each would be for you. Okay, so here you have your typical dreadnought type acoustic guitar. Now, as we went through before, you'll need to choose whether the acoustic is better for you or the electric. We'll just have and the reason we're using this is obviously the type of music that we like to play. So for something like this, a full steel string guitar, it'd be anything from metal to rock, country rock and rock, folk music. In fact, it's been used in many different facets of music. Having said that, just to make things a little bit more interesting, there are two main types of acoustic guitars as well. This one, which is the steel string guitar, but you can also get a nylon string guitar. Now there is a difference between the two. It's not just the strings. The neck, in fact, is a lot wider than this one on the nylon string. Also, if you have a look at the headstock here, it's pretty much set up similar to a Les Paul, where your tuning pegs are either side of the headstock here. So on the nylon string, where these tuning pegs or the posts are sticking through the head, there's usually a cutaway on this side and a cutaway on this side. Now, there would be a few designs differ from that, but that seems to be the most popular where the nylon strings are designed. So those are just a couple of things to have a look at visually, but in terms of playing, again, it comes down to the type of music that you actually want to play, which will determine whether you go for a steel string or a nylon string. So some of the pros about having an acoustic guitar as opposed to an electric is it's lightweight, which means you don't have to be a weightlifter to take it around, which is great. It's generally cheaper than an electric guitar, but having said that, you know, a lot of manufacturers are putting out electric guitars real cheap these days in packages and whatnot. But as a general rule of thumb, the acoustic is a cheaper guitar. Also, the best thing about it is it's ready to go when you're ready to go, meaning you don't need an amp to plug it in, although you can buy some which have got their own built-in pickup, which this one does, and you can plug it into an amp, but certainly I don't need to, which is brilliant when you just want to take off really fast and throw the guitar in the car, and you know you've got everything you need. One of the things that a lot of people say the downfall of the acoustic when you first start anyway is it's deemed as harder to play than an electric guitar. And I don't know whether that's true or not, but certainly when I picked up the acoustic guitar initially, it did feel like the strings were a lot harder, and I'd been playing guitar for a few years by that time. And so there may be something to that or not. But having said that, that's actually a bit of a gift. I found every time I played the acoustic and then jumped onto the electric, I played a hell of a lot better and much easier. So don't worry about those things that are harder. They'll just make things much easier for you in the long run. So what we have here is my RG series Ibanez electric guitar, my baby. Now obviously the reason we play or pick an electric guitar is the type of music we love to play, like heavy metal, rock, country, and there's so many others, but obviously the first and foremost reason is because we love that kind of music. Now the guitar comes out in many different designs obviously, and many different string choices in terms of the amount of strings. Now 6 strings is your standard, and for the most part that's what we'll be talking about, but certainly you can get 7 strings, 8 strings and so forth. I've seen up to 12 strings, so you guys can go for it if you're confident enough to do that. I'll stick to the 6 strings. Now some of the pros about having an electric guitar, obviously it's got one of the coolest sounds I've ever heard. One of the things I love about the electric guitar is the fact that you can keep changing your sound if you wanted to, and it's just with a click of a button, usually at your feet. You can change it from things with delays, choruses, reverbs, phases, distortion. The list is endless, but there's many different effects out there that you can add to enhance your sound if you wanted to change it. There are also modeling effects where if say you had a Fender and you wanted it to sound like a Les Paul, you could also get effects to do that. So you don't really have to have 300 guitars anymore. You could certainly go out and get the effects to make it mimic that kind of sound, which is pretty cool if you like that sort of thing, that is. Another thing with the electric that the acoustic doesn't have is this thing on the end. Well, some people call a whammy bar tremolo system, and that's something unique to the electric guitar, which means you can add more effect to your sound. You know, even things like vibrato and sustain is another thing, which is something over and above what the acoustic can do. So when it comes to the electric, all the positive things is the amount of different sounds you can get out of the guitar, and it just seems to be so versatile. So the only downside I can see when it comes to the electric guitar is the fact that it can't go out and perform by itself. You actually do need an amp if you want to be heard, and most of us obviously do. But here's another area that you can be a little bit unique. When you buy your amp and you pick a particular amp as opposed to another one, here you can also tweak your sound and get a unique or different sound from somebody else. Adding effects as well will also help that process. So I don't know if you can really call that a downside, but it's the fact that you'd have to spend more money than just the guitar. You do have to take into account an amp and anything else you want to add on to that, but at least an amp and leads and picks and that sort of thing. So you know, when you start thinking of the money side of things, that's when the creative side kind of disappears. So as musicians, I guess what we're searching for is that uniqueness, whatever is inside of us, we're trying to recreate that in the real world and make that come out, whether that means purchasing a particular amp or effects or whatever that be. We kind of just go and do it because that's what needs to be done. But anyway, it really depends on you, what kind of music you want to chase, what kind of sounds you want to chase, and start from there. Look at the type of influences you have, the type of music that you listen to, and start from there. Straight away make a decision. Is it going to be an acoustic type of sound I'm after, or an electric sound? And from there you can start fine-tuning exactly what you need to get. And ask someone that is in the know as well. You might have some friends that already play, and they might have some advice for you, what kind of amps and guitars you should be looking at, or at the very least have a look at your influences. What kind of guitars do they play? You know, is it say for instance it's an electric guitar, do they play a Les Paul, a Strat, or maybe an Ibanez, you know? And go from there, and certainly you'll find what you're looking for, and hopefully, you know, the main thing is to be inspired by what you hear and what you're doing, and that just keeps you going.